everyone, it's Lisa. Continuing in our Thanksgiving theme, we're going to draw some nice, easy acorns today. I'm going to start off by drawing an oval to show where one of the acorns will go, and then another oval that's leaning a little bit away from it and is a little bit smaller. So that's just the basic placement for my two acorns. And now I get to draw where the caps will be. So I'm just going to draw an arching line that kind of shows me where that cap's going to be, and the same thing for this one, an arching line that will show me where the cap is going to be. So the cap is closer to the top than the bottom. That's the way it should be. Now I think this one I didn't do as good of a job, so I'm just going to fix that. And this is why it's a good idea to do these things in sketch form before you finalize everything. So see, now I've got smaller and bigger on this side. And then I'm going to have just the top attachment bits up here where it's been growing from the tree, connecting along like this. Okay, so now we're ready to do some more detailed line work, and I'm going to choose to start that now with my darkest brown marker. I'm not going to use black today just because I don't want this to have too terribly strong of an edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cap of my front acorn first, and I'm going to start right here at the line that I made that zoops across, and you can see that I started out a little bit further away from the bottom part of the acorn, and that's because this part has is smaller at the bottom. So then we're just going to arch around like this and draw the cap, and then we can draw some crisscross lines to show the texture of this acorn. So they're just X's that are a little bit leaning toward each other. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. It's coming over like this and past, and then a nice dome top that comes down to meet the other line and the top. And then again, arching crisscross lines, being careful here not to make them go into the other acorn. And then same thing on this side, just arching lines down. Great. And then for the bottom of the acorn, actually I might as well do the top, finish it here. Just going to draw these lines coming up, and they're just going to connect onto the branch that I had indicated at the top. So then for this part, we're just going to choose like a bottom point of the acorn, and we're going to come back in close, and when we get to here, we're going to stop in a bit of a downward pointing angle. So it's curving down until it reaches this one, and then it just touches in a point. And the same thing on this side. The point should really be right opposite the top attachment piece that you drew. So for this one, I'm just going to bring it around and tap right here at this point, and same thing on this side, bring it around and find that same point. Alright, so those are all the basic lines that I need for these acorns, and then now it's going to just be fun to shade these. So I've chosen several colors of brown to do this with, because I do want it to be, have a little bit of interesting coloring. Even though the lines are not very complicated on this acorn, on these acorns, we might want the coloring to be a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my brown colors to shade this in, and this darkest one that I just used, I'm actually going to thicken up the cap tops because this cap will be darker than the rest of the acorn. So I'm just going to make the edge lines thicker to show that it's actually darker as well, because I'm going to use some of the same browns that I'll be using on the bottom of the acorn as well. But I'm just going to add some extra there. That should be enough, maybe just a little more. And you see I'm still trying to maintain the curvature of the acorn as well as I shade this in. Alright, I think that is enough. I can always add more dark later. It's hard to take the dark off if you put too much. So now I'm going to add in some dark brown around this edge here. Again, I'm just trying to give a hint of the shape of this, so I'm going to make it following along this line here, darkening in, and then same thing on this side. I'm just going to have my light source kind of on this sort of an angle that I've already hinted at, like so. So it's going to be thicker down here, and then thinner coming along this way. join up. And I'll do the same thing with my next brown. And I might blend these after. So I'm choosing this for my next lighter brown. And I'm going to do the same thing, thicker, and then thinner, and the same thing here, thicker, and then up the side, thinner, like this. And then I have this lightest brown, and I'm just going to fill in the rest of this with the lightest brown. And you might have different browns than I do. They might blend better than this. And so I'm just using this lightest one now to kind of go over everything to give it cohesiveness, make the colors sort of look like they match better than they do by blending them into each other and making it look like this whole acorn is really made of this color, and the shadows have just brought it out differently. And then I did color the darkest part on this, but I'm going to go back over now and add in some other dark browns just to finish this off. So this is quite a dark brown, and just always coming thicker on one side, thinner on the other, to that middle bit. Now I just have to choose which one of these was the darker one. I have to check. It's always good to have some kind of marker. This one's redder, that one's browner. I'm going to go with the browner one. I think that was this one. Yeah, okay. And just finish it off. The redder one I like better on the fleshy part, and the browner one I like better up here. And I'm going to do the same thing again, which is just kind of go over these with my darker color just to add hints of that same color. Alright, so this is how you can draw simple, reasonably simple acorns for Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I would love it if you would comment on this video and subscribe for more DoodleDrawArt. Thanks for watching. See you next time.